And so June passed, a month filled with hacking, arrests, dark web drama, and a bit more hacking. This is AI Joe, and welcome to yet another monthly recap. Let's start with the biggest cybercrime story of the month, which very well might be the largest hack of the year. Early June saw the first announcements about the MOVEit file sharing service being compromised and leaking some data. MOVEit is a major file sharing service used by many governments and corporations. As it turned out, for several years now, its software was compromised by an infamous Russian ransomware gang Clop, which managed to exfiltrate terabytes of data belonging to some of the world's largest companies and governments. By mid-June, Clop started publishing the list of its victims and demanding ransom. Such firms as Shell, Virgin, Procter & Gamble, and others were named. Since then, a lot of the firms confirmed being hacked. Most of the stolen data contains corporate and governmental records. Some of it also includes customer data, including personal information, which may be the scariest part of the hack. For example, the data stolen from an American insurance company, Wilton Re, contained the data of over 1.5 million customers. In total, over 15 million people are thought to be affected by the hack, and the number is growing every day. Soon after Clop came out with their ransom demands, the U.S. State Department announced a $10 million bounty for any tip that can lead to an arrest for a member of the cyber gang. Since the gang is strongly linked with Russia and most likely resides there, there is little chance of any actual arrests happening. Another larger-than-life story from June was an unusual one. You may remember Breach Forums, a hacker forum which was taken down by the feds together with the arrest of its admin, Pompurin. The forum was unexpectedly resurrected in mid-June, only to be hacked several days later. A database with its users' emails, passwords, and IP addresses was leaked. In my video, which I did back then, I said it was hacked by Exposed VC, a rival dark web forum. Exposed VC itself was hacked several days prior and defaced by people affiliated with Breach Forums. However, it appears the situation is even more complicated. Breach Forums' database was originally obtained by the admins of Ana Forums, yet another dark web forum, whose motive for the hack was that Breach Forums admins are not serious enough. Since then, the admins kept exchanging insults, one of them being more hilarious than another. Truly, the internet war we all deserve. Besides the drama, the month was also full of arrests of alleged cybercriminals. For example, the feds caught their second Lockbit cyber gang member this year. The criminal was arrested in New Jersey and charged with a laundry list of wrongdoings. Considering the prominence of Lockbit and the scale of the damages done by this gang, the jail sentence is going to be hefty. Another important arrest happened in the US too. A former football mogul was charged with illegally processing over $700 million in cryptocurrency. The co-owner of Minnesota Vikings apparently was running an illegal crypto exchange, in addition to performing fraud and doing a bunch of other illegal things that attracted the government's attention. And some prominent arrests happened in Ukraine too, where a crypto malware ring was captured. The gang mostly targeted Canadians, offering them fake investment possibilities with the goal of planting ransomware programs on their devices. As usual in similar cases, the criminals were incredibly organized, running an operation which resembled a regular office with customer support, HR, and other teams. Speaking of ransomware, it appears that Anonymous Sudan, one of the more prominent Russian cyber gangs, is changing their modus operandi. In June, they attacked a bunch of targets with their usual DDoS attacks, but they also claimed to have hacked Microsoft and exfiltrated login details of over 30 million accounts. Microsoft immediately denied the claim and said there is no indication of its data being stolen. However, a few weeks prior, Anonymous Sudan already attacked their servers and downed them for some time. Back then, Microsoft blamed the outages on technical difficulties and only later admitted being a victim of a DDoS attack. So, only time will tell if Anonymous Sudan really managed to conduct its first large hacking operation, or if this is yet another overblown claim by a gang which is known for overblowing its claims. And now, let's take a look at the front lines of the cyber war. Ukraine was hit by another large cyber attack, conducted by a Russian hacker gang known as NoName. The country's financial network was hit with waves of DDoS attacks that targeted the largest Ukrainian banks, disabling their systems for a while. A few days later, Ukrainians responded by attacking Russia back. Ukrainian hacker gang Cyber Anarchy Squad said they took down Infotel, a major Russian internet service provider which operates platforms for the Russian banking system. The hackers said they hacked into the systems and dealt some serious damage. And while there were reports of problems with money transactions within Russia, it seems the system was eventually repaired. Ukrainian police also said it took down a massive pro-Russian bot farm that operated within Ukraine. Reportedly, it operated over 4,000 fake accounts used to publish posts and comments on social media. However, by far the biggest cyberwar story happened in Russia. As you may have heard, at the end of June, the country saw its largest armed insurgency since the 90s, when Wagner, a private military corporation run by a Russian oligarch Evgeny Prigozhin, declared war on the Russian Defense Ministry. While the mutiny ended on its second day, with Prigozhin agreeing to retreat into neighboring Belarus, it had a massive echo through the cyberspace. A ransomware program presenting itself as an official Wagner virus has been discovered. Instead of asking its victims for money, the program calls them to join the Wagner PMC and wage war on the Russian defense minister. A new hacker gang, which also presents itself as an offshoot of Wagner, hacked into a Russian government-owned satellite communications company Dozor Teleport and downed its services for a day, supposedly for providing services to the army. The gang also doxed the company's top management and threatened to leak nearly 2 terabytes of its internal documentation. There is a chance that the Wagner virus has nothing to do with Wagner and is just an attempt to capitalize on the chaos. However, the posts about the hacking of the satellite network were widely shared by official Wagner media channels, meaning that Russia is now really fighting on 2 cyber fronts, against Ukraine and against Prigozhin. Okay, now it's time for Blitz news. First, a secret Elon mode was discovered in Tesla cars by a hacker. The mode removes most of Tesla's self-driving restrictions, which allows a fully hands-free self-driving Tesla experience. An Australian university is working on an AI chatbot created with one and only purpose: to fight phone scams. It is designed to talk to scammers wasting their time, which I find pretty cool. Russia announced that it considers legalizing internet piracy sites. Netflix, HBO, and many other international streaming services withdrew from Russia, and the country's Ministry of Digital Development says that piracy may compensate for that. And for dessert, Microsoft was fined $20 million for illegally collecting and storing private data of underage Xbox users. Signing up for Microsoft services included providing a name, email address, and phone number, which many young gamers were prompted to do without parental consent. And that's it for this June recap. Check out my previous recap if you want to get up to date on cyber news, and see you in the next one.